He rose at supper, tipsy, and informed his whole family I was a money chaser from the projects. Claimed I was exploiting his son for cash. I exited that home in sobs. What he didn't realize, I managed his firm's $8.5 million deal, and extension was in 3 weeks. Monday morning, I flipped open my laptop and spotted his name. Stick around till the very end, because I'm going to reveal whether Kayla was right or if she overstepped. If you've ever been looked down on because of where you came from, if you've been sized up by folks who got everything handed to them, this tale is for you. Press that like button if you feel respect is gained, not required, and follow because we're about to see entitlement face fallout in real time. My name is Kayla Martinez. I'm 28 years old, and I serve as a senior buying director for one of the biggest grocery chains in the nation. I manage supplier contracts worth over $100 million annually. My decisions impact hundreds of stores across the Northeast, affecting everything from pricing to product availability for millions of customers. I didn't inherit this position. I learned it. I grew up in a small apartment in the Bronx. My mum, Christina, was an elementary school teacher. My dad, Henry, drove delivery trucks for FedEx. We weren't poor, but money was always tight. I wore hand-me-downs and worked at a diner starting at 16, saving every tip. I got a full scholarship to a state university because I studied until my eyes burned. I graduated, summa cum laude, in supply chain management, got recruited during campus interviews, and spent 6 years climbing from junior buyer to director. Every single achievement was mine, built by my own hands, which made it devastating when Gerald Davies, my boyfriend's father, made it cleared from day one that I would never be good enough for his son. Austin and I met 2 years ago at a professional conference in Chicago. He's a software engineer, smart, funny, supportive. He saw my drive and intelligence. I fell hard, and so did he. The problem was never Austin. It was always his father. Gerald inherited his father's food distribution company, a mid-sized operation supplying dry goods and canned products to stores across 3 states. He didn't build it. He didn't grow it. He just received it. And somehow that inheritance made him feel entitled to judge people who actually worked for what they had. From our first family dinner at their colonial house in Greenwich, Connecticut, the comments started. "Oh, Kelly works at a grocery store, so you're like a cashier?" I'd correct him politely. "No, Mr. Gerald, I'm the purchasing director. I manage contracts worth millions." He'd give this condescending smile and change the subject. Over months it escalated. Austin Watchimers could be with someone from a more established background. These girls from nothing are always looking for a man to take care of them. I hope she's not using you, son. Austin always defended me, arguing until his voice went raw, but I asked him to stop. I didn't want to cause family conflict. Part of me hoped that if I kept proving myself, Gerald would eventually accept me. I was so wrong. The dinner happened on a Sunday in March. Austin's mum, Judith, had prepared prime rib for the extended family. Gerald, Judith Austin's sister Evelyn, and her husband Jordan, and Gerald's 2 brothers with their wives. I arrived carrying an expensive tiramisu from a celebrated bakery, determined to contribute. The first hour was normal, polite conversation about weather, work, vacation plans. Then, Gerald started on his second bourbon, and the temperature dropped. "Kelly," he said, his voice thick with alcohol, "tell me honestly, how much do you actually make at that grocery store job?" The table went silent. "Gerald, that's not appropriate," Judith said, mortified. "Why not?" he shot back. "I just want to know if my son will have to support her forever." Austin slammed his fist on the table. Dad stopped now, but Gerald stood up, swaying glass in hand. No, son. This girl appears from nowhere, and suddenly she's here every Sunday eating our food, enjoying our hospitality. Your food. I couldn't stop myself. I brought dessert tonight, a $90 tiramisu. Last week I brought expensive wine. Last month I paid for the entire catering for Judith's birthday. $400. He laughed, cruel and contemptuous. Look at her. Always has an answer. Is that what they teach in public school? How to talk back? Tears burned behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Austin was on his feet, furious, but Gerald stepped closer. Bourbon breath, hot in my face. You think I don't see your game? You're trying to trap my son, probably hoping to get pregnant and lock down child support. These poor girls are all the same. You latch on like ticks. The world stopped. I stood slowly, folding my napkin carefully. I looked him in the eye. Thank you for dinner. It was enlightening. Austin grabbed my arm. Kelly, please don't leave. I need to go, I said quietly. We'll talk later. I walked out with my head high, but the second I closed my car door, I shattered. I sobbed the entire 20-minute drive. Deep gasping sobs. It wasn't just sadness. It was rage. It was the crushing injustice of being judged by a man who'd never worked for anything. I got home, washed my face, and made tea. And then, almost automatically, I opened my work laptop. I pulled up my supplier contract, database, and typed DAVIES. And there it was. Gerald Foods Distribution, LLC annual contract, $8,500 products, dry goods, canned items, renewal, date, March 28th, 21 days. I hadn't made the connection before. The company used his first name only, and while I had final approval authority, a team manager handled day-to-day operations. But now I was staring at his company name on my renewal list. I sat there for hours thinking, was this petty? Unethical? But then I heard his voice again. Poor. Girls like you are all the same. And I thought, why should I renew a contract with someone who thinks I'm worthless? Monday morning, I walked into my office with clarity. Christina, I told my senior analyst, I need a complete performance audit on Gerald Foods distribution, quality metrics, delivery records, price comparison, complaint history, everything. She looked surprised. They've been with us for 5 years. Is there an issue? That's exactly why, we need to review them, I said. Markets change. We need to ensure we're getting the best value. The report arrived Tuesday afternoon, and it was damning. Price is 7% above market average for comparable products, 3 significant delivery delays in 6 months during high-volume periods too. Product batches flagged for quality issues with customer complaints, overall performance below industry standard professionally. I had every reason not to renew. But I won't lie, part of me wanted Gerald to feel what it's like to be dismissed. Wednesday, I called a team meeting. We're opening competitive bidding, I announced. Gerald Foods distribution will not be renewed. We need suppliers who are more competitive on price and performance. My assistant Ethan hesitated, but they've been our partner for 5 years. And that's why it's time to evaluate options, I said firmly. Business is business. Thursday, legal. Sent the formal non-renewal notice. I didn't tell Austin. He'd been apologizing non-stop, saying he'd fought with his father. I just said I needed time. Friday night, Austin called, panic in his voice. Kelly, my dad got the notice. He's freaking out. He thinks you did this. He says losing this contract could bankrupt him. He might lay off 15 employees. That hit me hard. 15 people. Families who had nothing to do with Gerald's cruelty. Have him send me complete performance documentation. I said after a pause. Financial reports, delivery logs, everything. Why? Just send it, Austin. I spent the weekend reviewing every document. By Sunday night, I'd made my decision. Monday morning, I scheduled a meeting with Gerald. He arrived looking nothing like the arrogant man from dinner. He was pale, wearing an ill-fitting suit, visibly scared. Kelly? I held up my hand. Mr. Gerald, your current contract will not be renewed. That's final. His face went white. However, I continued. I'm willing to offer a new contract with conditions. Anything, he said immediately. First, 12%, price reduction to match market rates. Second, implementation of a quality control system with regular audits. Third, guaranteed, delivery timelines with financial penalties for delays. I paused, looking him in the eye. And fourth, a formal written apology for your behavior at dinner, addressed to both me and Austin. Detailed, genuine, signed. Gerald's face flushed red. He struggled with his pride, but finally he nodded. All right, everything you asked. Good. You have 48 hours to sign. He turned at the door. Kelly, I was wrong. About everything. Austin is lucky, I know. I said, without smiling. Have a good day. 2 days later, the signed contract arrived with a 2-page apology letter. It was genuine. Gerald acknowledged his prejudice, his cruelty, and asked for forgiveness. I showed Austin that night. He read it with tears in his eyes. You did in 1 week what I couldn't do in 2 years. He whispered, you made him respect you. It was about consequences, I said. He needed to understand that his words have weight, that people he dismisses might hold more power than he realizes. 3 months later, the contract was working perfectly. Gerald met every requirement. At family dinners, he was respectful. Then came the transformation. At a Sunday lunch, Gerald stood up and asked for attention. I want to say something, he began, as looking at me. I spent my life thinking success was inherited, but Kelly taught me that real success is built with your own hands. She came from a working-class family and achieved more than I ever did with my advantages. I was prejudiced and nearly destroyed my son's relationship with the best thing that happened to him. His voice broke. Kelly, I don't deserve your forgiveness. But thank you for giving me a second chance. With dignity, I felt genuine warmth. Thank you, Gerald. That means a lot. After that, our relationship transformed. He started asking my professional advice, treating me with real respect. 6 months later, Austin proposed. When Gerald heard, he cried and hugged me tight. Welcome to the family daughter, for real this time. Here's my take. Kelly was absolutely justified. She had every right to cancel that contract based purely on performance data. But she chose something better. She taught a lesson about consequences while protecting innocent employees. Gerald needed to feel powerless after making her feel worthless. But Kelly showed real strength by offering a second chance with clear boundaries. She could have destroyed him. Instead, she transformed him. This wasn't just revenge, it was restorative justice. She forced him to confront his prejudice, improve his business, and become better. That's not overstepping, that's wielding influence with smarts. What's your view? Was Kelly right? Or did she push too far? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you think she nailed this perfectly, hit that like button and follow, because next week, another tale where being underrated runs into crushing results. Fairness 1 story at a time.